With Ric Flair coming back last week and Hulk Hogan returning Wednesday on Thunder, WCW were building to next week's unopposed show said to be the most watched Nitro in months, and the company's opportunity to get some of the audience back to sample their product. The NWO came out for a promo with Steiner eventually taking the microphone on live television, starting a personal shoot promo on Ric Flair. With heat that goes back to the early 90s and several subtle comments including last week after the Flair Funk segment, with Steiner making a joke about Flair that was immediately cut off to a commercial break. Nobody was going to edit or cut him off now. Steiner began by saying that he watched a 53-year-old man last week claiming that he's still the man, telling him to stop talking about being limousine riding for one day and take a cab to use the money to fix his teeth. Steiner said that WCW should have hired the original Nature Boy Buddy Rogers instead of Flair, as even with him dead he still has more class. Saying that people grabbed their remote to watch the WWF with Steve Austin, a guy who was in WCW, that Flair and his friends got fired. Ending by calling Flair a backstabbing bastard both in wrestling and real life, in a vicious promo that wasn't part of the show format. With the loose cannon Scott Steiner practically saying everything he wanted for the past year and a half with a live microphone on TV. This time the company interfered, leading to Steiner being suspended the next day on the Thunder tapings, with reportedly a parking lot altercation with Flair happening on the same day while on the way out of the building in Oklahoma. Jarrett booked Scott Hall vs. Sid for the main event, making it a non-title designed for Hall to slow Sid down before their match at Superbrawl, with Terry Taylor later changing it to a title match to stir things up in the NWO. WCW Top of the Hour segment was set to be Terry Funk vs. David Flair in an I Quit match, building up the eventual Ric Flair match with a callback to the famous Funk vs. Flair I Quit match in 1989, with the company showing highlights of it to build up the hype. Funk called out Rick and told David to quit before he gets hurt, with David giving Funk several chair shots to the head before taking control. Funk gave David 3 pile drivers including one on the table, recreating the memorable spot with Flair 11 years earlier. With Rick not coming out to help David, Funk then quit to end the beating. Raw started with an over 20-minute segment, first with the Radicalz coming out after losing their contract matches against DX on SmackDown, with Eddie Guerrero injuring his elbow again in unfortunate timing to put him out of the ring for the next few months. The group thanked the people and Mick Foley for the opportunity with the idea that they're leaving. Triple H came out telling Foley that it's time to end this and booking the rematch for No Way Out, saying that this time it would not be a hardcore match. Foley then challenged Hunter to a Hell in a Cell match, with Hunter agreeing to put the belt on the line against Foley's career, setting up Cactus Jack vs. Triple H in a career Hell in a Cell match. With Flair not coming out to help David and then leaving the building in his limousine to cement himself as a heel against Funk, Anderson was stuck in the middle between Flair and Funk, with him set to eventually turn on one of them. Hall and Jarrett were building up the main event set to be Hall's first match back since December 13th. Foley put his career on the line, saying that in 15 years in the business he has done it all except one thing: headline the biggest show of the year. Telling Hunter that after he beats him there would be no added stipulations, and he goes on to headline WrestleMania against Rock or Big Show while he sits at home. Hunter said that it's over in 20 days while walking to the ring, revealing that the Radicalz got their contracts as all four turned heel on Foley in a big swerve to the surprise of the crowd. ending up with Hunter booking a 5-on-1 match against Foley for later, in what is said to be the Radicalz in Ring Raw debut. Next, WCW had Bigelow vs Knobbs in a hardcore match, along with Kidman against Demon. The company were planning for a big overseas tour in Germany, with all the shows drawing big crowds at the buildings, with several of the top names in the company not available from different reasons, including now Nash after his leg injury. The company asked Bret Hart to make an appearance with him always over big in Europe. With his return date still unknown, Goldberg did several media interviews on the state of the company, with him making an appearance at this Nitro after the TV broadcast ended. Next was Edge and Christian against the Outlaws on Raw, with Bubba Dudley staying in JR's face for the entire match, daring him to repeat some of the things he said about them in the last few weeks with them on a table rampage. Ending up with Bubba attacking Christian with the Outlaws going over. After that, Raw had a match built as the match of the Olympians with Mark Henry against Kurt Angle, with Henry telling Mae Young not to come out to ringside with her pregnancy. After some good bumps in the ring from both, Mae Young ran in to attack Kurt with him giving her the Olympic slam while celebrating in the ring. With Hogan returning on Thunder to set up his match with Luger at Superbrawl, Luger called out Jimmy Hart to the ring with Hart cutting a promo for Hogan on Luger to build up the match, ending up with Luger putting him in the rack and smashing his arm with a chair. Raw had the Acolytes and Hollies in a wild hardcore match at the concession stand of the Reunion Arena, drinking beer in the middle of it while breaking bottles on each other until Viscera ran in putting Bradshaw through a table at the bar, with the Acolytes then interfering in his match against Jericho 10 minutes later. Hall vs Sid started with the show already 2 minutes in the overrun, going 4 minutes doing WCW's peak 2.8 rating, with Hall having the match won leading to Jarrett turning on him with Sid going over, in what will be the final appearance of Scott Hall on the show he helped put on the map and take the industry to its peak 3.5 years earlier. The big story of the week saw Vince McMahon in a hyped press conference Thursday, announced the official plans to start his own football league called the XFL, promoted by Vince as an alternative with a more aggressive game than the NFL, preparing a big investment and promotion with the league set to launch in February 2001. After Shone arriving earlier with Kelly hyping an interview for the last 20 minutes, Rock introduced Kelly to his new t-shirt while hyping his match against Big Show at No Way Out, promising to go on to WrestleMania 16 to face either Triple H or Mick Foley, before turning to the match tonight. Rock said that Cactus Jack got himself into a 5-on-1 situation, with the situation now changing to 5-on-2, putting himself in the match to an eruption from the crowd, saying that he beat down DX for years while naming the Radicalz in what is said to be the first interaction with the group, telling them that he's gonna introduce them to the Rock's world tonight. With Raw in the middle of one of the hottest rating streaks and viewership figures in cable TV history, due to the now much lower-rated dog show, Raw will start 2 hours late next Monday between 11 to 1 a.m. with JR and King promoting the new start time throughout the show. Rock and Foley ran to the ring to start the match just as the Too Cool music started, bringing out all three members to make it 5-on-5 with the crowd already mega hot. The match was building first with Scotty and Grandmaster fighting off the Radicalz until tagging in Rikishi to a massive reaction. Rikishi dominated for a few minutes until tagging in Cactus Jack to another huge pop. Foley fought off DX and the Radicalz with them starting to get heat on him to set up the hot tag, as the Dallas crowd began the chant that started before entering the building all throughout the show, with Foley tagging in Rock as the reunion arena exploded. Going through both factions with both teams brawling all over the ring until Benoit and Grandmaster, ending one of the hottest matches in wrestling TV history. The match and its aftermath, which went over 10 minutes, gained over 1.5 million viewers to peak the night with a huge 8.1 rating, among the most watched segments in cable TV history, with over 80% of the total wrestling audience watching the Raw main event. The post-match saw the lights going out as Paul Bearer made his return alongside Kane to two more massive pops to lay out DX and the Radicalz to close the show.